Men in sport, a timeless means of entertainment. Some men hit home runs, others are curb stomped. Some win Cy Youngs, others get dunked on. Some men become MVPs, others have 70 saves in a game. But your stats won't matter here. Here we discuss the issues, search the hearts of men, and judge in vivid detail. Only raw takes will do. This is sports analysis. This is Sports Unchained. This is Sporticus! Hey guys, Sporticus is all over social media. You can find us on Rockfin. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Anchor, Twitter, and Patreon, all under Sporticus or Sporticus Live. Come holla at us. We're live ish.
Welcome to
What?
Side Control with Side Mount Sam. I'm sorry, no, this is Sporticus.
No. You had it about right. It's all good.
Yeah.
Um, appreciate the job you did on that show.
Oh, it was terrible,
It's
man.
COVID season,
Yeah,
so people are
it was
getting
so
sick.
bad.
Not that people are getting. No, it was good, man. That was your
Well, yeah,
first
I did.
solo show. Solo shows aren't easy.
It's easy for me just to sit there and talk. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like the hard part was not having affirmation because a lot of we bounce a lot of stuff off of each other, whereas I was having to come up with points and then remember what I was saying and like I mean it sounds a lot harder than it is. Like you should always remember what you just said, but sometimes when you talk as much as I do, you just kind of deviate from where you were, and then you try to get back and you can't remember how. And yeah,
Well, it's
it
not
was
just
fun though.
that. It's a lot to it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had fun. It's a lot to it. It's not very easy to be your own launching off point. During a conversation, especially to an audience of just you. Because it's just you hearing it. Like at least you and I can pretend that someone's listening. Although yes, we do have listeners. We have retained most of our listeners from when we switched over to a new editor in chief. That's good though, because you never know
Yeah,
if that's going to happen.
yeah.
But I, there's a card coming up with Cody Garbrandt on there, and we'll get to that. I don't even remember who's. I knew who he was fighting for the longest. Now I don't. Did they swap out his opponent?
Oh God, he's fighting a guy named what is it, Rob Font? Yeah, Rob Font, which
Was
is
he
like kind of a
fighting
weird
him
fight.
originally?
I don't think so. I think well, I mean, he hasn't made like how many of his last couple fights because of injury, whether to him or whoever he's
Like
fighting.
five.
Yeah.
I want to say
Well,
five.
he's
It's
been on
probably
the
not
couch for
five,
so
but it
long.
feels like
I
five.
mean, yeah, he's been on the couch for so long, kind of like you like saying.
Yeah, no. I might go a little easy on him. There's
Yeah.
other bones I have to pick on this show. Um, but take me through. Let's get through this other card. Let's get through the Chandler card, the Chandler Oliveira card.
Dude, we haven't had a card in a while. We have a few things to talk about. So let's just we don't have to spend that much time on it, but let's talk about UFC 261, the Usman Masvidal card. We'll only talk about the top four fights. So sorry,
Okay,
Anthony
well,
Smith and
okay,
Jimmy
well, it was
Crute.
a beautiful knockout. that knockout on Masvidal was beautiful. Like it was
You
beautiful,
always start
man.
with
I
the
mean,
you always start with the main event. I was gonna say let's start with Uriah Hall versus
sure, because
Chris
I
Weidman.
got well, there's not much to say about that one. And then there was another, Anthony Smith got bailed out because he was going to lose that fight. He got bailed out with
No, that
a
was a
freak leg
great fight.
injury too.
That was a great fucking fight. I don't know
Nah,
what
he
you're
got
talking about.
bailed
That was a
out. Had that not happened, I don't.
Oh, I don't think so, dude. He was popping the jab. The jab was starting to fucking really land.
Anthony Smith, hey, guess what? You're the whipping boy for this
I
episode.
I
I don't
don't
give a
think
damn
so.
how much praise we gave you in the past. No, and like I said, man, I'm never gonna be 101 on this guy's side. The only thing that made him look good in his entire career, besides him knocking people out on his way to John Jones, which I mean that's not bad. Don't get me wrong. The only thing that we could say good about him is that he's not a chump like Aljamain Sterling was.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing we can say. By the way, there was another flop. I don't know if you caught that, but
Well,
there's a
there,
thing in wrestling called a flat back bump, and old girl did a flat back bump. She got hit, and you immediately spread out your arms to a T. You don't you don't do that. There's only one place you know to take a fall like that. Maybe not
yeah,
one place. Stunt people do it too. But my point is, if you're going to legitimately take a fall, that's how you do it. So yeah,
yeah.
she was full of shit too. So was the and back to Anthony Smith. He was the only guy that actually legitimately kept going. But like, I don't care about that guy.
No,
I
it
hope he
was
gets knocked out.
it was Crute like that kept or that tried to keep going like or what do you mean keep going?
Yeah, no. I mean, it unfortunately was a freak accident, and I don't know why the hell he tried to. I know why he tried to keep going, but ew, no,
Oh well,
no,
yeah.
no, no, no. I knew
Everybody
that was
everybody wanted Jimmy Crute to stop walking. Like,
yeah.
dude, we get it. You're
Right. It
tough.
was the Michael
Like,
Chandler effect.
hey, I suggested on Side Control. I suggested maybe they run it back. I mean, that was a good enough fight to where they could.
You have to. I think you absolutely have to run that back. You
Yeah, because
really
why
do.
wouldn't you?
Like,
Why wouldn't you?
and it's gonna be a better fight. It's gonna be a much better fight. I think it's gonna be ended. You know, somebody's gonna be finished. Midway second round. And I think that's gonna be a better fight than what we were getting. Not that it was bad. I'm just saying, Anyway, that's um. So yeah, a freak leg accident. Whiteman with the freak leg accident. A lot of people saying fight karma, and another person who gained my respect out of nowhere, Ben Askren. He stood up for Whiteman and Masvidal. He said no. He said at the end of the night, he said if you fight long enough, shit happens. That is one of the best quotes I've ever heard in my life about MMA because that's exactly what it is. Anderson Silva wasn't knocked out until he was. He wasn't
Yeah,
losing fights until he was.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's a freak accident. But it does happen. It's not common whatsoever. But we've all seen that happen before. And the funny part was everyone tweeting all night, "No more leg kicks." And Derek Lewis was like, "Man, I'm not throwing another leg kick." Like,
Nah. Well,
so.
I thought it was
Uh,
ballsy that Andrade started the Shevchenko fight with a leg kick. That was the first strike that was thrown. Was her starting it off with trying to throw
yeah.
a leg kick, and it's like, did you not see the motherfucker, roll by you screaming in agony? Like, what the fuck? Like,
To every Chris Weidman fan, I want to say this. Thanks for your love and support. He's going to need it in his retirement. He's fucking done. I'm not finna pussyfoot around the fact that he wasn't going to do much anyway. You know what I mean? He just wasn't. He was going to
at
get knocked out in
best,
that fight, dude.
well, check this out. Like, at best, Uriah Hall, Chris Weidman was really shaping up to be a pretty entertaining fight. And then that happens, and
Yeah.
you're kind of like, all right, man. Like, I guess you put Uriah Hall against somebody who's kind of like Chris Weidman. I don't know, who does he fight next. Like that's the real question. Chris
Yeah.
Weidman,
Because he was
he's
supposed
done
to
at least.
solidify himself.
Yeah, and Chris Weidman, he is kind of like you're saying, he's done. I mean, he can try to come back like Silva did, but at the same time, he'll probably end up like Silva without the legend behind it. You know what I mean? Like, he'll always be the giant
Yeah,
killer.
yeah.
Like, he'll always be the giant killer, but he didn't have what Silva had going in it. He wasn't the giant with the Giants resume, you know. So
Here's what Weidman needs. If Weidman truly gives a shit about his career and wants to be the star that he believes he should be in his heart of hearts, jump ship, go somewhere else, make a name for yourself, and then try to get back over to the UFC. And
right,
people might say, "Oh, this and that." You know, I know a lot of people don't come over from other places, but you're not gonna get it done in the UFC regardless. You and I know that. We spoke multiple times about Chris Weidman and how he
yeah,
should have just retired anyway. So you can go to Bellator. Ain't nothing there for you either. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, that's like out of the frying pan and into I don't know, out of fire skillet. I don't know. Maybe it's not worse for him there, but like I don't see it as a launching pad. You want me to be real, and a lot of people ain't gonna like it. A lot of people don't get this though. There's MMA on ESPN now quite often. It's like their own little thing. It's Pro Fighting League. Um, he should go there. Now, it won't bode well for him because Verdun lost. He lost over there. That was really controversial. The guy tapped. I know you probably don't know anything about it, but the guy tapped, and then Verdun let go, but then the guy started beating on him. But the ref didn't see the tap. So, yeah, Verdun got royally screwed. But Anthony Pettis, he made his debut over there, and yeah, he lost too. He got knocked out. But maybe Chris Weidman, maybe he could be the guy. Think about it. He could go over there. He could have this amazing comeback story and be the face of the ESPN league.
or
It's a better
or
story than whatever
or
the fuck he do UFC.
or
Yeah.
and just hear me out on this because this would be even better. So Chris Weidman makes his name by knocking out Anderson Silva, and then in the rematch, Silva breaks his leg over Weidman, right? So that's his legend.
Mm-hmm.
That was his pinnacle, was being the guy that not only beat the champ but broke the champ in the rematch. Literally broke the champ. So then
Yeah.
you go into the Uriah Hall fight, he breaks his leg. Well, this is the perfect time to leave, man. You broke the champ. That's how you really solidify your name. Why not go
Sure.
out and
Sure.
breaking your fucking leg, dude? Like, come on. Like, it
I mean,
would at
if I
least,
was
at the
him,
very
I would
least,
give up. Yes.
at the very least, it's poetic.
Sure. I mean, he's gonna want to come back. He's already on that. I don't know where the fuck he thought that he was this amazing fighter. He's not a just damn. I don't want to have to tear him down like this, but the reality of it is that might have been one of the best things that happened to him. Not his leg, not physically, obviously, but he's gonna get knocked the fuck out. I'm no dummy. I know Uriah Hall. He was gonna knock him the fuck out, okay? Just like Yoel Romero did, and everybody else. You know, not everybody else. It wasn't like a ton of people, but Weidman wasn't gonna win, man. If Luke Rockhold was his stumbling block, oh my god, like I just don't want to see him anymore unless he's got a comeback story. And if Pro Fight League PFL wants to do this right, you get the trilogy fight with Anderson Silva. I know Anderson Silva's done, but if you want to set up here and main event something on ESPN and put you you got to be a book. We got to fantasy book shit sometimes because Chris Weidman is just we shouldn't even fucking talked about him to be honest. But let's fantasy book his career. You got a great comeback story, and you go to PFL on ESPN. You're fighting, right? I mean, you're fighting. You're not good enough to be in Bellator.
The only thing that I'm laughing
What's
about
up?
right now, no, the thing that I'm laughing about right now is what if they did do that, right? And they met in the middle of the PFL or whatever, right in the middle of the ring or octagon or whatever the fuck they have, and they start going at it. You know, you know, like 2 or 3 rounds go by. They're going to the 4th or 5th or whatever fucking round. But you get comfortable with the fight, right? And then they both throw leg
Yeah.
kicks and break their legs on the leg kick. Like,
I knew you was gonna go for that. Now that would be I have.
Oh my god.
Man.
I would
Well,
never watch
everybody would hear.
fighting again.
Everybody
I would
talk
never I
about
would dude, I would never watch fighting again. I would still follow it, but I would never watch it again. Like, nope, not happening, man. Like, I've seen
it.
all I can see in that shit, dude. Like, it's only down from
Yeah.
there, you know.
That has happened before, though. If I'm not mistaken. That has happened where two people throw their legs and wrap them around each other. But
Not
like, yeah,
fucking what I've seen,
Whiteman,
bro. So I'm not even gonna.
that's the that's the best he could do. I fantasy booked it. I don't think that's a bad way to go out. Him and Anderson Silva have one last fight against each other on ESPN and get some real, get some money. Maybe not some real money, but get something. I
Well,
mean,
if it's
hype it
professional fight
up.
leagues,
I don't
one of
know.
those guys is winning money if they win.
Sure. I mean, I don't really know what else to do with either one of those guys. But sure, had to fight there. And then Bellator and UFC don't have to be worried about it. Um, when it comes to Thug Rose Namajunas, like, why is it that it's either love or hate? It's it's either she's playing possum and playing down her emotions and stuff and condition, or she's just badass and stuff like that. And I have a hard time knowing whether or not I should be rooting for her. You know, I wasn't
I
the biggest
don't.
fan of hers.
Oh, sorry. Keep
Yeah, go
going.
ahead.
No, keep going. Keep going. You're good.
Well, I was saying, like, I wasn't the biggest fan of hers in the beginning, because I was like, Thug Rose, like, whatever. And I was right, and she wasn't that great. She did she did one thing that fighters rarely do. She got better every fight, and she even when she lost against Andrade, she looked the best she had ever looked. And then she fought her again and looked even better than that. And that's great to see. I always harp on how people don't get better. And she's gotten better. But mentally, not her, us. I don't, it's always, we got to get sympathy on the baby face. Oh, she's a baby face. We got to get sympathy on her. And then it's like she comes out and she's unlikable. And then it's so weird. She's a sympathetic figure, and then she comes out and she's super unlikable, or then she's super likable, yet she's supposed to be the bad guy, if that makes any sense.
Well, man, like, I really want to dislike her because of the whole Conor McGregor thing, especially like when he was running around making all that ruckus. Then he threw the dolly at the bus that they were all in and broke the glass. And Nama Yunus had to take some like personal time because it like terrified her and stuff. And it's like my reaction is like, come on, you're a top level fighter in the top level organization. Like, come on, dude, have a spine. But that's not the person that I saw in this fight against Wei Li. The person that I saw is the person that I actually think she is. When she's standing there before the fight starts, just screaming that she's the best, she's the best. She's like, I'm the best, I am the best. That is somebody who needs to get to a certain point in her own head before she's where she has to be to perform. Like, when that kind of stuff happens, like, I fully now believe that she's every bit as emotionally, volatile. I don't want to say fragile or anything, but like volatile. Because like, think about the intensity of emotion it takes for you to sit there in front of a crowd of people and somebody you're going to fight in front of that same crowd and just scream that you're the best and not lose your concentration, not even give an inch of you being anything but a machine. And then she goes out and in like a minute and 15 seconds kicks the champion in the fucking face and just decimates any sort of reign that
By the
Zhang Wei
way,
was gonna
champion,
have.
that was the only thing you had to worry about. And I mean the only thing you had to worry about with Thug Rose was her length. That was the only thing that was going to truly stop you in your tracks. And the champ couldn't do shit about it. I was like, why are you in
Yeah.
range? Boom, gone. Like this. Before I could even say, why the fuck are you standing approximately the exact length away from getting kicked in the face? And then she's kicked in the face. Glad you lost your title because you're stupid. That was the dumbest thing you've ever done in your life. I don't care if people booed you. I do care. I mean, that crowd was kind of shitty at times.
No,
But you
no,
know what?
that's something
No, they
I want
were.
to address
No, they
too.
were. Oh, okay. They were. They were though, because there was a couple things where there was just a little bit of wrestling, and they started to boo it, and I'm like, come on, man! Like, don't be one of these crowds. So they were kind of shitty at times. They weren't
That's
the
not what
worst,
I'm
but go
even
ahead.
talking about. Like, I'm talking about the specific, loud, deep booing of Zhang Wei Li when she was announced. Like, I get there's tensions with China, but there's not tensions with Zhang Wei Li, man. She's been a UFC fighter. She's done everything she needs to do to get into the country legally, fight for our entertainment. Two, this is not only just, she's not just a Chinese fighter. She's not fighting in front of just Chinese people. She's fighting in front of Americans. She's fighting in front of Europeans. She's fighting in front of everyone. Like, it's mad and it's sickening that crowd would boo her like
It
that.
really was. It really was.
Like
It really was.
that
And they
fucking killed me. Like, I get it. Like,
and that's what I
on
mean
the
about
very
Thug Rose.
but dude,
Go ahead.
on the very base level, booing somebody who's a champion in the UFC doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, I get John Jones, if you want to boo him, whatever, but nobody ever does. But like, if if they started this off with a boo towards her, and like, for me, I got a weird feeling of sort of like this booing doesn't have to do with her fighting. This doesn't have to do with what's going on right
Yeah,
now. Like,
absolutely.
because who is she without a fighter? She's just another person on the planet, man. Like, just like any one of the rest of us. So to sit there and boo her that violently, I don't even think most of those
Right.
people in Jacksonville fucking knew who she was. You know what I mean? Like,
Probably
that's the
didn't.
thing that
And
bothers me.
that's my problem with the Thug Rose thing. Thug Rose made a comment about communism and all that stuff, but I'm like, you know why that was unfair and really stupid? I hate when people make
It
comments
was
like that.
pretty. You're right. It was pretty unfucking fair, dude. That was pretty unfair comment.
Right. It's like the place you live in, the country you live in, Thug Rose, the fucking American flag you're carrying and all this racism and shit. Do we have to talk about that? Because you're throwing rocks, and you got a glass house. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? I
Yeah.
didn't like that. I'm like, you cannot talk about China and communism and all the horrible shit they got going on without first addressing the fact that most of the people in the country wanted a president that everybody hates.
Yeah.
At one
And
time. I
that's
mean, not just past, but you see what I'm saying? Like, I can just start with shit from 4 years ago. If I want to really get into it, let's start with some 4 years ago shit. Talk about the divide in your country. Use the platform for that. Don't attack her because she lives there. Oh, well, she could move somewhere else and all. Sure, she can. It's not exactly like that. It's
yeah,
not
well,
that
yeah.
easy. She just gets.
And
You know,
we could all move to
we,
fucking Switzerland and be neutral. You know what I mean? Like, come
right.
on, like,
Right. We got to pick our battles. And this is what I mean with Thug Rose. She said some bullshit about communism. But fuck communism. Sure, right? Fuck China.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
But
sure.
like, you just said fuck this, your champion fighter. You disrespected her and just by disrespecting her company, It was about disrespecting her. And you're the go get him good guy of the of this fight. We're supposed to root for you. What you did was set that crowd up to boo her. That's why she ain't shit, bro. And a lot of people. So yeah, she got mental illness and all that. Fuck you. You didn't have a mental illness when you were doing that, did you? Nobody was
Well,
saying, "Oh, she's so." You see, no, but you see what I'm saying? It's all,
yeah,
we got
It
to
was
handle her with delicate hands, and then she doles out this type of fucking punishment.
yeah,
She decides to do this to Zhang Weilei, and it's ridiculous. Nobody
well,
said anything about it, and I watched it, and I didn't say a word to now, but it's disgusting, and you see that.
and in the spirit of mental illness, we don't know what Zhang Weili has. She comes from a culture where they either sweep that kind of thing under the rug and out of public sight, or if it's hidden enough, maybe you don't think you were just knocked out by somebody who kicked you in the fucking jaw. You know what I mean? Did you see her reaction to getting knocked out? Like, that might be mental illness too, dude. That's delusion right there. Like, that's crazy. How she fucking, I mean, to digress for a sec. I'm not trying to be rude, but like,
You just
god
pop
damn.
back up. I was a little okay. It's whatever. She lost.
No,
You
no,
shouldn't get hit.
she was done. She was done in the spirit of she went down like a fucking tree, like
Yeah,
just
you can't go down like
stiff as
that.
a board. And then she took how many hard unanswered shots to the face? Like about four, I'd say four or
We
five,
let Brock
three,
Lesnar
at the
do it.
very
I
least.
think you let your champion get pummeled. We
Yeah,
let Brock Lesnar
but
do it,
Brock
even though he
Lesnar
didn't win that
never
fight.
Brock Lesnar never knocked anyone stiff. Like that's the thing is even the guys he got the TKOs on, he never knocked anyone fucking cold, dead, done out. He had to fucking bludgeon people. You know what I mean? But like if you watch the Whaley Namajunas fight, when Namajunas kicked her, she went stiff as a board, light as a feather, bro, right to
I
her
think
guy.
Nama Nunes is full of shit. I think she uses the mental illness stuff to have an edge, so you don't really come out as hard on her, and it's like she can
I
kind of
don't
found a
think so.
groove into it.
I
I
don't
think
think
so.
so.
I thought that for a while too, and then she goes out on Twitter and says she does what she does, and it's like, oh, okay. Now you come into this fight, and this person's thinking you're a little fragile. I think she uses it as a mental edge over her opponents. I'm not saying
Uh,
she doesn't have that. I think
I'm
she's full of
just
shit. I think she plays it up, is what I'm saying. Also,
well, she strikes me like the quiet kid in class. You know what I mean? Like that kid who looks interesting, doesn't look like they're harmful or malicious in any way. But then you talk to them and they're super into killing bugs or something weird like that, and you're just like, huh? She strikes me as that. To where like when she says, I'd rather be dead than red. It's just like okay, but she doesn't really talk much else, and then that's what comes out of her mouth. It's like, I'm good on hearing her talk much
well,
more. Like,
right.
like,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
thanks.
and I that's why I say, it's like I get it, but this isn't Rocky. Like, this is we don't need to say shit like that. Um, like
Oh, but we
what
do
happens if
though.
Chandler says some weird shit? Does Michael Chandler need to say some weird shit too, or can we just chill
No,
and can they fight?
but
Right, just let them fight.
that's never been his or Oliveira even. That's never been
I
either
get
of
it.
their
I'm just saying,
things.
but we don't because they don't need it. That's not a lot of people's things. They don't need shit like that to fight. That's why I'm saying it's not an act, but it's played up for dramatic effect with Rose Namajunas. Fuck everybody who wants to come at me for that. I mean it. Fuck you. I think she plays it up. I didn't say she didn't have a problem. She didn't have issues, but she plays it up, and we saw it play out. Jessica Andrade got her ass whooped. This is Legal Shield Independent Associate Sean Covington. You can find me on Facebook, and you can also go to my website at sjcovington.wearelegalshield.com. There was said the other fight on there was Jessica Andrade and Valentina, and I was saying Valentina and Amanda Nunes. I don't want to hear from them about them or anything until they fight each other, and then that's it. It's nothing against them, obviously, but there's
No,
no
there's just no
left.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let's
there's no other fucking match
Jessica
except
Andrade
for
step her game up dramatically, or she needs to go to. She's really small, and I think that's a big problem for her. Like it's not always a problem for people, but it's a problem for her. I think she needs to get the hell out of there. Like go to Pro Fight League or Bellator. I think Bellator they'll smoke her, But you never know, man. I mean, she's still high level. It's just she's that tier below the top two. It's crazy. Like, and she's gonna stay there. There's no getting past that right now. So
yeah, well, and the thing that Andrade has going against her too is she's just not a very good fighter. Like the one good win in her career that she has was over Nama Yunus, and it was because she accidentally dropped her the right way to get Nama Yunus to stop fighting. Like that.
I don't know. That wasn't.
Nah,
His,
I'm just saying
I
like.
know what you're saying, but it wasn't exactly a fluke. Okay, it just wasn't.
I mean,
You know?
she meant to do all of that, but
Yeah,
like in
yeah.
terms of like in terms of dumping her on her head like that, and just how many fighters have we seen land like that that try to keep going and do keep going? Like all of
Uh,
them,
a lot, not all of them. No, I've definitely
just
seen people
about.
get knocked.
Yeah, yeah, but that's mostly something you see on the street is when they hit their head on the concrete. You know what I
No,
mean? Like,
I've seen that shit plenty in MMA. I've seen motherfuckers get dumped on their head, and that's it.
well,
It doesn't
no, no,
happen
no. I'm
much
not saying I'm
in
not saying there's
UFC
not.
though.
It's a very rare thing, is what I'm trying to get at. Is like it's not that's not
Sure,
something you necessarily go for in practice. Because how do you practice that? You practice punches,
sure.
you
No,
practice kicks,
I'm
you
with you
practice
on
stuff like that. Like, but like that's not something you necessarily practice or could practice safely on somebody. It was a luck
that.
of the draw sort of landing, and we're all kind of glad that Namajunas didn't break her neck. But at the same time, it didn't show me anything of skill or value from Andrade. And that's just comes into this fight when she gets Shevchenko right off the bat after losing the rematch to Namajunas. And it's like, okay, well, you're gonna go from getting your ass kicked to getting your ass whipped. Like
Yeah. I mean,
it's
well,
just
you know what? It was a title shot. It was two title opportunities. So,
yeah,
I mean, I
well,
know
yeah,
the other one
but
wasn't. Like, that was a number one contender. I'm okay with it because, that's what that knockout she had earned her. And then she got blitzkrieged and knocked out, for the title. But, eh, I'm
yeah,
not. She needs to grow
she's
something.
irrelevant. And until Nunes and
Yeah.
Shevchenko fight, the only other fight on the table is Shevchenko versus Namajunas.
Now, on to Usman and Masvidal.
No, 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 no. Did you not just hear me?
What?
Did you not hear me?
What did you did I not? What did you
No,
say?
you must not have. I said the only besides Shevchenko and Nunes fighting, Amanda Nunes fighting, the only other fight that would make sense is for Namajunas to come up to 125 and try to take on Shevchenko.
No, I don't like that. I mean,
What do you mean you don't like that?
uh I
Fucking tell
I
me you don't like that. That's like
I
a
don't know how
fucking
necessary it
dream
is. I
matchup.
don't know how necessary that is.
Who
And
else is there? Who else is there to try to
I think
beat
it's
Nunes at
unnecessary.
that weight level?
If you I think sure if you're Valentina, you welcome all comers, but I don't understand why Rose Namajunas would try to do that. I don't know if she's there. Also,
What do you mean?
let's
She has Trevor Whitman as a coach. You've seen what that's done for her.
sure. I also seen Valentina Shevchenko destroy people. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
well, and
but let,
and, and
let me
that's
say this.
that's the thing though, is we've seen Trevor Whitman versus Khabib, so we know that he could give Justin Gaethje the best plan in the world, and he can be effective. But there are some people that are just going to overcome your game plan because of who they are, and that's what I want to see with this Namajunas Shevchenko idea that I'm having. Is Trevor Whitman brings Trevor Whitman into this Namajunas fight like he does with any other one. So she's going to come in well prepared, well trained. She's going to be in the right state of mind, and she's got good people around her. And then she has to face the best in the world. So if she really wants to shout, "I'm the best" across the octagon from Valentina Shevchenko, sign me up.
She's going to use that mental illness thing again and say something. No, she is. She is.
Yeah,
Valentina,
yeah, but
she's
like
going to
at
want
the
to talk a
same
little.
time,
She's going to want to be a little free spirit and talk. They're going to, talk a little shit like you should
no,
do to promote the fight. And
no,
Thug Rose is going to
they
say
like
some
each other.
bullshit and then lie behind it.
Dude, they like each other.
Listen. I know that, but it's still a fight, and I understand how that shit goes because they'll hug it out after the fucking fight, but I do believe there'll be a little bit of BS. I just I don't think that's smart for Nama Nunez. I don't. I mean, I guess sure, like I'm not opposed to any matchups. Let's just put that out there. I don't give a fuck who you put in front of somebody. If you say this is the person you're fighting next, fight him, right? Jan Blachowicz wasn't like, no, I don't want to fight a middleweight champion. No, he fought him, right? He
Yeah.
fought Israel Adesanya, no problem. Did Adesanya take 2 seconds to sign the fucking the contract to say he's fighting Marvin Vettori again? No, he didn't. He just signed it. He just did it. without even blinking or thinking about it. That's something John Jones could learn a thing or two about. Is just signing the contract and shutting the fuck up. You're not gonna get better wages by not fighting.
Yeah.
You're gonna get zero wages because you're not fighting. But I'm with you on that fight. If that fight happens, fine. I don't know. I'm not super into it because I don't believe, because they do like each other. I do not believe that fight's gonna happen at all. When two fighters like each other, actually like each other, that fight typically doesn't happen. And I don't mean just respect. But anyway, let's go to the last fight on that card. The Masvidal and Usman fight. I appreciate what Usman did as far as everything afterwards. He kept his shit talking not just to a minimum, but he said what needed to be said. He backed up what he said. He said that he did, and then he didn't go into any detail about anything. He didn't shit on Jorge Masvidal, nothing like that. And Masvidal propped him up as the champion he is. He was like, man, he knocked me out. I've never been knocked out. Hey, that's great. Props to him. He's got my number. He was humble in defeat, man. He really was. A lot of people had a lot of stuff against Masvidal because, well, they're insecure little bitches. A lot of them are. Not every single one of them. But a lot of these people who, I don't like Masvidal because he's just too macho for me. It's like, well, take your bitch ass on and stop watching MMA. Like, if that's the type of guy that offends you, you are absolutely in the wrong sport. Am I wrong in that assessment?
You are so absolutely correct in what you're saying. It is hard for me to say what I'm going to say because you basically said it all. The only thing that I can really add, bro, is the world needed what Jorge Masvidal brought to his short burst of real fame in the UFC and in the eyes of the sporting community and the world. You know what I mean? Like, so he goes from being that bad boy that gets to face Ben Askren, and he's on a win streak, and that's fine because there's a lot of guys that get to fight on different win streaks of various different sorts. Like, look at Tony Ferguson, didn't lose 12 fights in a row, finally got a title shot. Like, there's just guys that it's different routes to your title shots, but on the way to his success and to making the name, people really started to see this guy is truly from the street. He is truly somebody that you look at as just like one of those street fighting brawlers. Somebody that maybe, he has some technical prowess because he's been doing it so long.
Throwback.
Hold on. Let me get this out. So he establishes this whole persona of himself, and then he knocks Ben Askren out in 3 seconds, and everyone's like, oh wow, okay, so this guy not only is full of himself, but he's also backing it up. So there's some people that actually love him. There's, like you're saying, a lot of people that actually hate him. But then he gets all the way to this Usman rematch after, putting up such a good showing in the, 2-week notice, or sorry, 6-day notice, not 2 week, 6-day notice. That good fight that they had. But, the thing that I didn't really consider going into this rematch was that Usman also had, only 6 days the first time around. But the fact that Jorge Masvidal was able to take a knockout so gracefully after talking so much shit about the Ben Askren one, it really makes a critical thinker sit there and be like, all right, well, where was the Askren stuff coming from? That was from a personal beef, a feud back and forth, something that was highly publicized. That was all that. With the Usman thing, Jorge Masvidal is just doing what he does. And honestly, it's not much different than any other fight. I'm surprised he didn't try to 3-piece Minnesota him at the fucking weigh-in, So he's the same person. But then Kamaru Usman delivered, and Jorge Masvidal had no choice but to just be like, you got me, man. What else can I say? You fucked me up. I gave you my best. Yeah. You gave me better. Like that.
Yeah, and it was a great moment good. Too. A lot of people.
So awesome.
They tried to pick apart Jorge Masvidal. And I'm like, for one, I don't like to use the whole you can't do it sort of thing. But like, the reason why I'm going to do it for him and people like him is because Masvidal was a different fighter at first. And then, this is his second go around. He wasn't a loser. A lot of people act like he was a loser. And they say, oh, look, he lost before and this and that. And oh, did you see how many fights he's lost before? And I'm like, dude, check this out. This is his second time around and he's finishing fights because he doesn't want to be the same guy because why? He got stuck in the UFC rut. He made it to the UFC. He was in the big leagues, and it was like, oh, well, now I can just win by decision, and scrape by. He was the one guy that said, fuck that, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to just go back to my roots and knock people out. And if I don't get it done like that, I don't get it done like that. But all this chicken shit, fighting for points and just to, scrape ink out a win at the end of the day, it just wasn't for him. Excuse me. And a lot of fighters just.
You're right.
And Usman. Now, see, here's the thing. Usman was that type of guy. He was until Masvidal came along. Well, Masvidal changed all of that. He didn't even change that with the Kobe Covington fight. That's a little different. But when
I disagree. I think it started with the Colby Covington fight where he realized he could really best somebody in an actual war. Instead of winning a fight, which is what he's used to doing, is winning a fucking fight. He won a war with Colby Covington, then he won a war with Masvidal. So now he has the mentality of a knockout artist that can go 5 rounds. It is so scary to think about what's next for Kamaru Usman. That guy's going to kill people.
Well, yeah.
You took a long pause. I was like, uh-oh.
well, I want you to finish up a little bit more on that because it's something I want you to get to. I want to piggyback off of it.
Okay, which part do you want me to start from?
I'll just say this. Masvidal is to this sport what Chuck Liddell used to be. He's that big personality with that fist that can put you away. And that is something that the sport desperately needed then and it desperately needs now. And Kamaru Usman, seeing him on the horizon, stepped his game up because he wasn't punching like that before Masvidal made a name for himself, And then all of a sudden, it's oh shit, what's going to happen if I can't fight this individual like that? He wasn't confident enough in his hands the first time they fought. He really wasn't. Usman was never going to throw anything like that in that first fight because he knew he could have got blessed. He knew that. Very smart fighter, very intelligent, high fight IQ. And then he said, you know what? I've been working on it. I put a guy away like this. I think that I can go toe to toe with him. And that's what he did, And that's an amazing thing to see in the octagon in real time like that, because Jorge Masvidal is a force, and he was almost something that Usman wasn't going to be able to deal with. The first fight, if the first fight he had a full camp, I would say yes. At that point in time, absolutely, Masvidal would have won with a full camp. Not just because it's Masvidal, but I'm talking about at that particular time in Usman's life as well. So it's got to be that particular time. Now Usman probably could have beat him on a rematch too, to be honest. He could have beat him on a rematch. He's got his number. We see that. But what I'm saying is, no matter where Masvidal goes, we're gonna need him. We're really gonna need him because you're and this is what I want to get into with this Chandler fight and Oliveira. Oliveira is exciting to us. He is not going to be a marketable champion for UFC. Now, you think that's me taking a knock on him or a dig? No. I think he's great. I think that he is. But I think that what a lot of people is, not a lot, but I think that with way more people than the UFC does. But a lot of people aren't giving Michael Chandler any real credit, which is stupid. If Charles Oliveira doesn't do the right thing at the right moment, he's fucked. He's gone. In a blink of an eye, he'll be on the fucking canvas, and that's it. He'll be staying up at the lights. Michael Chandler is not some bitch that you could just come in and say, well, I'm multi-talented. You know how multi-talented everyone who comes into the UFC's doors are? Well, like most of them, dude, a very large percentage of them, a very high percentage are super talented individuals who are multifaceted in different martial arts. Guess what? It won't matter if you catch that one punch that's launching your teeth into the seats. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know if that'll happen, but I really don't understand how Michael Chandler's not getting his proper respect. And people are even saying that he doesn't deserve it, and Charles Oliveira doesn't. They said both of them don't deserve it, dude. I've been seeing that. They said it doesn't seem like a title fight. Now, I was saying Dustin Poirier needs to be part of it. Absolutely. I was saying that. But this still seems like a title fight. It still seems like it's for all the marbles. People like they should have held off. UFC needs this and that. I'm like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, dude, this is a fucking title fight. I don't know what people are getting this extra shit from.
Well, I agree, but here's the analogy I'm going to use. When it comes time for football playoffs, and there's always that conference game or divisional game that is so good that everyone's like, oh man, that should have been the Super Bowl. This is that fight. The Chandler Oliveira fight is that fight. It is the Super Bowl that we never got that we deserved. This is everything that fight fans want in a title shot. You have two of the best at their top of their performance, players. Now, granted, Dustin Poirier is not a part of it. Conor McGregor is not a part of it. But at the same time, they have unfinished business elsewhere, and that might even be considered the Super Bowl as whoever wins the Chandler Oliveira fight, fighting the winner of the Poirier McGregor fight, obviously. But then
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Michael Chandler's gonna fight Charles Oliveira again, relatively soon. He'll be the next big threat to that title. I believe he'll lose.
Hey, if it's that close of a fight, fuck it, why not? But my thoughts on Charles Oliveira. I've been calling that since I was, since back in.
No, right. For like a year and a half, something like that, or it might be way shorter.
It's been longer than that. Like I remember when this kid broke in as a child.
No, I mean on our show, I can since the show started.
This kid broke in with he was 18 or 19 years old and busting out top level jiu-jitsu on these guys. And the only thing was he didn't have a stand-up game and he didn't have a takedown game. And now he has both of those. And the thing is both of them are proven against top level fighters. Like what he did to Tony Ferguson, if that's
he showed mercy on him too.
Oh, he did. He totally did. And the thing is before after Khabib beat Gaethje, to go 29-0 before he retired, or after that fight, during the whole thing, I was thinking, oh my God, Charles Oliveira would be perfect because why would you can't take Charles Oliveira to the ground. He's going to submit you. But at the same time, Khabib has good stand-up. I wanted to see that fight more than anything. It made a lot of sense too.
It does. And Khabib, I'm gonna tell you like this, Khabib. Hey, I know you're not listening to this, but if you ever do, you're scared. I don't want to hear that bullshit. Oh, I cleaned out. I fought everybody. I don't fight nobody new. You're full of shit. You're full of shit for every reason you just said. You're full of fucking shit. Fight the guy that everybody thinks that can beat you. And let's be real, Charles Oliveira has No. Charles Oliveira has every single tool. If you just ask anybody, they'll say, well, not tell me why he can't beat Khabib. Tell me how he could. Everybody has a path to victory. Everybody would have a path to victory. It'd be pretty much the same big path to victory for Charles Oliveira. But guess what? They're not going to do that because they don't want to, that's how you get Khabib back. That's how you get him to fight. But whatever, man. Just like with John Jones, when he ran, and he ran. He actually ran. He hightailed it the fuck out of the division. Fight the people in front of you. I can't believe that he wouldn't fight Charles Oliveira. If you want to tell me you're the best to ever do it, there's a guy that you've been talking about, others have been talking about. He damn well he's been talking about himself. You ain't the only person that's been on the Charles Oliveira train. Because it wasn't even a train at first. You see what I'm saying? I don't even think it's a train now. My point is, if you are the guy, you need to best him in combat. You also need to take out Michael Chandler because he hadn't been here yet. And I think you need to take those two guys out. For one, what else are you doing? You claim to be the best. John Jones has one little thing about you. He could say when he was there, yeah, sure, he fought those guys, but we can only go so far with John Jones and who he would and wouldn't fight. But man, if you're Khabib, you fight Charles Oliveira, man, straight up. You're like, no bullshit. He came up in your shit while you were there. Fight this motherfucker and get his ass out of here if you the top dog.
I think if Charles Oliveira wins on Saturday and then he beats his next opponent after that, there's a very good chance Khabib would come back for that, especially if he does it so dominantly. Like, let's talk about either 2 submissions or a knockout and submission. These fights, bro, are not going the distance. Like, there's no way that Michael Chandler not only won't, like, he's Michael Chandler himself, like, to his credit, I mean, to his credit, he's either going to knock Charles Oliveira out or he's going to get just beaten in some other way. Because he doesn't have the gas tank to go 5 full UFC rounds with a guy that's been in the UFC since he was essentially a fetus. Like, he doesn't have it. He's too old. He's too late in the game.
I wouldn't say he don't have it, but that's not. No. He's not going to do it though. Regardless, he's not going to do it.
He's not going to have it against Charles Oliveira. Is what I mean. Charles Oliveira's pace is different. If he's not working you on the feet, he's going to take it to the ground and work you. He will make you tired. That is something that he can do as well. That's something that I've seen in the evolution of his game. Tested, though.
He gonna get his motherfucking chin tested.
Maybe.
Like, cause
if Chandler actually lands, we'll see. And that's not.
I think he'll land.
That's not necessarily a problem for me. I think Charles Oliveira has gotten his head bounced off of a mat to at least withstand anything other than like a Kamaru Usman right down the fucking pipe, back to the chin. You know what I mean? Like, and might be what
come on, man. You act like Chandler might put one right in his fucking shit, right on the button.
I'm a Michael Chandler fan, dude. Hey, I'm a Michael Chandler fan. You remember, like, for years I've been saying he should be in the UFC, and you know that. We've had a lot of bar talk.
No, we both have. We both have him. Yeah, and he should have been there. It's fine that he's here right now. I get it. It's kind of dope because, like, you know, he gets the title shot almost immediately, you know, but he had to earn it. He still earned it. Knocked the motherfucker out, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, here you go. Like, sorry we even made you fight that other guy, but okay, you know, like, here you go, just as you asked for. But I'm just trying to give him a little bit more the benefit of the doubt. He's here for a reason. He earned his spot, and Michael Chandler is not somebody I would take lightly whatsoever. He can if he lands, this shit could be over, man. It could be. Like, we could say, well, you know, he's not used to UFC shit. Well, UFC wasn't used to him last time I saw. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told people, I said, look, man, put your money on Chandler. This shit's finna be over. He's not finna play no games. It's not finna be a 1-round exchange. He's not finna see where you are. He's finna knock you the fuck out and go home, you know, eat some tacos or whatever the fuck he did. My point was, it was going to be an easy day at the office and a short day at the office. And like you said, it's going to be that way again, whether he gets knocked out or he does the knocking out. But he's got more than a puncher's chance to knock Charles Oliveira out. And that's nothing against Charles Oliveira. And I know it's kind of weird because we're rooting for both of them. We're rooting for both of them.
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. We are rooting for both of them. But to go with that thing that you said, because I like the point you're making, it's more than a puncher's chance. But when we're talking about 45% of the chance versus 55% of the chance, it's still a big difference. That you know, percentage difference right there. Like, absolutely, big difference, man. Big difference. Like the weight is just tilted.
I got Charles Oliveira. Like, there's nothing. The hesitancy is, hey, guess what? It's Michael Chandler he's fighting. If it was anybody else, Like, here's the thing. I don't give Conor McGregor that type of benefit of the doubt. And I've seen him do stuff similar to, Michael Chandler, like, and better. That's just that I'm not going to, Michael Chandler right now and the fighter he is, I got more money that I would put on him than Conor McGregor, especially at this point. I also say, I kind of skipped a couple fights ahead or whatever. I think Dustin Poirier get knocked the fuck out against Michael Chandler. I think he'd come in there thinking some extra shit, like, oh man, this guy can't. Boom, gone, done. Like I don't know. I want to get into Dustin Poirier. What the fuck is wrong with him? Like, he don't talk shit like regular people. It's weird. He's a weirdo. Am I wrong in that, or is he just so laid back that it's just not good for the sport? Like, he's just not interested
you're wrong on every aspect of what you just
What is
said.
it about him?
He is not only great for the sport, because the UFC needs professionals. Because right now, remember, it's with the ESPN, it needs to have pretty faces that are nice and easy on the ears and the eyes. Dustin Poirier is not a bad looking dude, and he's super nice. Like, remember, he's been with the same girl since he broke into the fight game, and she stood by him all that time. And, like, there's that nice story. And then he has a Louisiana hot sauce, and like he's just like an all around kind of likable person. You need that if you're trying to promote your sport. Conor McGregor, he's kind of a changing of the old guard to where, like, yeah, you can still use that name because he's still a pretty relevant fighter, but once he's done, there's not going to be any more Conor McGregors. Once John Jones is done, no more John Joneses. You're going to be on a more professional leash. No, you're going to be on a more professional leash.
I know what you mean. What I mean by I think there'll be more Conor McGregors is that I do believe that we'll get somebody who understands how to make money in the game and all of that. We already have it with Jorge Masvidal, and I think we'll get that again. It's just that, yeah, they won't be quite the same, but somebody might be a little bit better. Who knows? We might see this guy fight. I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to say this. I believe there will be someone who comes along who is much better than Conor McGregor and has a decent mouthpiece. I don't know if it'll be.
Well, we're still waiting on the Mike Trout of the UFC. We're still waiting on the Mike Trout of MMA. We're still waiting on the guy. Yeah, no, we're still waiting on the guy.
I know what you mean, but Mike Trout he always gets shit for not having a personality or not being out.
He has plenty of personality, and what I mean
I know. I say he gets shit for not having, but that's not true.
What I mean is, Mike Trout is the greatest baseball player right now that I have ever seen or even ever heard of. He is doing shit that it's impossible. So what I more mean is it's not the personality aspect, although that is a factor in the side of I'm about to say. I didn't really think about Mike Trout not being the most, flamboyant of a personality, because that's also part of what makes him Mike fucking Trout. But the UFC, MMA in general, it's gonna have that guy, and I felt like for a second it might have been Michael Venom Page, but I don't think it's him anymore. But like, it's gonna be that guy that is so technically sound in everything, so technically aware in everything. He's basically GSP's fight IQ with John Jones's winning and Conor McGregor's mouth, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. And I think, well.
And then, like, you add in, like, Mighty Mouse's versatility. Like, you could really make the Ultimate Fighter, but that we're still waiting for that. And there's so many generations to come that we're not even going to be around for if the UFC or fighting keeps going like it is. Like, dude, this sport is taking off. There are people doing some freakish things.
What we need is, and you might disagree, we need stuff like the PFL. Sure, they don't have any, like Anthony Pettis, sure. Okay, he's a name, I guess. I'm being generous, obviously, but it's bringing eyes to a product. Like, I've watched that product more often than what I thought I would. There was some female fighter on there that was talking shit, And I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, who are you? She said, I'm the queen. I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, look, there's a time for wrestling promos, and then there's not a time for it. Like, I appreciate what you're trying to be the Conor McGregor of your division, right? We just got through talking about that. But there's a time and a place for that shit. He didn't talk that shit until he got Dennis Seaver. He knew better than to talk the shit before then. Because some random punk would have just knocked his ass out, and that would have been the end of Conor McGregor before he ever started. But he knew once he got somebody who, let's say, wasn't quite up to task of his talents, he wasn't quite up to par. He talked that shit, and then he knew they were going to protect him and not give him any real wrestlers or anything. He did the right thing when it came to his brand and stuff like that. And I see what this young lady was doing. Get the fuck out of here, though. No, you're not George Masvidal. You're not Conor McGregor. You're not even John Jones. Like, cut the bullshit. Get some more impressive wins and do something like a Michael Venom Page to get my attention. You know what I mean? He's been extremely impressive when he knocked you the fuck out. So I that's why you said what you said. Like, you thought it was going to be him because the way he razzles and dazzles that ass, but he fights cans. Sure, he's beaten some good people. Sure, he has. But man, as soon as he went up against Douglas Lima, that was the end of that shit. So we do need a little bit more from, if you're going to try to take that throne, that mantle of the best, then you're going to have to be a special personality. Or at least know how to capture that magic. I don't like Paul Heyman. You could be Paul Heyman, man. You could be, or Don King, for those who don't know who the hell Paul Heyman is. Don King, Paul Heyman, they're managers. They're people who can get this done for you and be a great mouthpiece. Like, think about Mike Tyson. He said some outrageous shit. Super outrageous. But before we even heard him speak, it was Don King, talking all that shit for him. So, I mean, I think what we truly need is some dynamic managers too. And why not? We have people who have brands. Why can't we get some managers or management team to really start to form these fighters and mold these fighters into people who you can put on Good Morning America? And because that's where they want to be, right? That's where they're supposed to be.
But that's not what makes fighters. Fighters aren't fluffy Barbie dolls, and I'm sorry to say it, but that's what the people in the WWE are. Fluffy Barbie dolls.
No, I get what you're saying, but here's the thing. I would only talk so much shit to John Cena. You can call him a fluffy Barbie doll all you want. He's too big. He's too strong. It's too much ridiculous shit. Like, I get
wow. Beat my face in with your fucking 300 pounds of steroided out muscle. It means nothing to me. I would only.
Steroids, you could say about other people, not him.
Okay. Beat
you're missing my point.
Your 300 pounds of naturally made muscle. I don't care. Like, it doesn't mean that you would beat somebody of similar weight. Not even a little bit. Like, look at Tyson Fury.
We could use Tyson Fury too. The Gypsy King and all of that. He's a big personality, not just a big guy. That's what I'm getting at. John Cena is laid back and stuff. Like, you could consider him. You could say he's the Mike Trout of WWE, or was.
You know what I'm saying? Never ever say that.
Sure. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he is, but only this. And I'm going to slam Mike Trout for this. If you're the man they say they are, you should be the guy I see in front of this MLB, not everybody else. I'm a quiet guy. Well, shut the fuck up. And when we don't recognize you, shut the fuck up. That is your fault. Shut up. I don't give a fuck.
I've never heard Mike Trout
too bad. That's why people will say Buster Posey's better than him.
What? Nobody says that.
They used to.
No,
and that's
maybe in Mike Trout's first.
Anyway.
No, not even.
Yes,
I'm a giant fan. I have followed both of those guys since they were rookies. Nobody has ever made that comparison who knows anything about baseball. Nobody has ever made that comparison.
I didn't say they knew anything about baseball, but look at where we live at, though. Of course.
Okay, but like, if you're gonna say that people are making that comparison, at least specify and say dumb people who have no idea what they're talking about.
I meant fans. I was not trying to shit on San Francisco fans, okay?
Oh no. You'd be more right to say that San Francisco fans said that.
Sure. I just want to say fans. But no. But here's the thing, though. We're in California. Mike Trout plays for a California team. They don't have to be
800 miles away from us.
They don't have to be talking about. They don't have to talk about Buster Posey. They should be talking about Mike Trout. But I'm getting off of the topic. My point is, why can't you get someone to get these people ready for Good Morning America? You got guys like John Jones who used to be charming. I guess maybe he still is, but like that's the type of person you want to put on Good Morning America if it was just about. Remember when he stopped a robbery or something like that?
How juicy, and John Jones may be the best example. How juicy is it being a WWE fanatic like you are? How juicy is it? Just let me run this scenario by you. John Jones starts out as the young golden boy, right? The WWE has those all the time. The young golden boys or girls, whoever, they have the young golden stud, the money cow, the next generation. He was that. And then you give him a little bit of, spice. So then he knocks out Matt Hamill, but still loses the fight. But then he wins the title and beats every good legend on the way there. Okay. Sounds pretty WWE, right? And then he develops a huge drug habit and then hits a prostitute or something, right? What could be more WWE and MMA than John Jones?
Sure.
Come on. And now all he's doing is not wrestling, but talking a bunch of shit, which leads me to believe he's probably.
The whole point is for it to be made up. That's the part you're supposed to make up, not for it to be written.
See, I think just because of the quality of our Skype recording conversation, you missed my hilarious joke.
Maybe it might have went out on.
Oh my God! I'm just saying, like, John Jones sits there like, remember when like The Rock was out of the WWE because he was filming Scorpion King, but every so often they'd be like, oh, this is The Rock from somewhere like at his house, and he's just like, yeah, fuck you this guy, fuck you that guy. The Rock says, and then everyone's like, oh shit, The Rock's coming back, and then like 3 months later he finally came back, and it was like it's the same thing with John Jones, except for it happens in years instead of months.
Right, and he probably won't. He'll probably get paid like $2 million more, which would be great for him. But man, at some point,
it makes me so sick, dude. Just to digress, does it not make you physically ill that they have not booked the John Jones and Ngannou fight for a set time and date yet? Like, I know they're going to go with the Lewis. I know they're going to go with the Lewis and Ngannou route, and that's whatever because of everything that's transpired with Jones being a little bitch. But like, I get physically upset when I think about the fact that we should be getting ready for Francis Ngannou versus John Jones at heavyweight. I
told you it was going to happen a long time ago, though. That's why
physically.
Since we started recording together, I told you that fight wasn't going to happen because, believe it or not, we were actually talking about it way back then. We always were talking about the heavyweight fight and John Jones. You know why? Because this was the end game.
The only way we were talking about it, though, is on the assumption that Francis Ngannou got better. Now, the scary part is this is what we were talking about to the T. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think about, like, we're like, oh, if Francis Ngannou can get his wrestling here, or if he can get his, grappling there, or if he can get this, his stand-up under control, and he has, and it's terrifying.
And John Jones is being a bitch, like I said he would. Like, you knew he could do it, but you held out hope because, we're both fans. We both want to see it. You held out hope because you want to see the fight. But I told you he was a bitch, and this is what bitches do. Like, he's going to probably end up fighting him anyway, and then what? Like, man, if he gets knocked out, that is the end of the legend of John Jones. He don't want to end like that. He doesn't. I get it. I know why he's scared. But why did you talk all of that shit? Go find Jesus, man. Okay? Go do that. Go hide behind something. But stop talking this shit if you're just a regular person that's scared. That's scared. He's definitely no better than George Masvidal right now. How? Masvidal took his knockout like a man. John Jones doesn't seem like he wants to take his knockout like a man. Stipe, Cormier, those guys took their knockouts like a man. They took defeat like men. He's very much afraid to take defeat. What I was saying was, I know this guy isn't Muhammad. Like, Muhammad Ali had a mouth on him like John Jones, right? But you can still put him on Good Morning America because he was such a bubbly personality, man. And he wasn't doing steroids and shit like that, but or trying to run over.
No, he was just fucking crazy. That's what he was.
But you can be crazy, like when you was going down the John Jones route. I was gonna say, you was talking about the Golden Boy and all this other stuff. I'll give you a guy who real life was John Jones, but it was in a different scenario. He was an entertainer. I don't know if you're gonna be able to know who I'm talking about. Well, you weren't there for like the early goings of his career, but this is a dude that had drug problems and stuff like that, and he made such a big comeback that he's in the most successful movie ever. Lead character, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh my God! I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He was the Golden Boy. I remember. I mean, sure, I'm old, whatever. Let's go. Let's talk about that. But I remember when they was talking about Robert Downey Jr. being that dude. But he was a young Hollywood dude coming up in the 80s. Got hooked on drugs. 90s weren't so good for him, and then he got off the bullshit and just came out swinging. And now the guy's beloved by all. Like. And he's one of those dudes that keeps to himself, but but uses his star power for good. You know what I mean? Like, you'll catch him randomly just showing up at a children's hospital or something like that, which is dope. Not everybody does that type of stuff. They'll do it for photo ops. He's not doing it for photo ops. My point is, that's the type of entertainer you want. Even if he falls off, when he comes back, it's a great story. And MMA needs to get on that track. Like, Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko should be on my TV all the time. Yeah. They should have been. Now, here's the problem with that. I don't want to see them now because what is there to talk about? You and I have talked about all of it. So there's nothing else for us to see, hear, or do regarding them. Sure, the final fight with them. That's it. But it's just, I want to see stars, and to come full circle with the conversation that we were eventually leading up to anyway, and to piggyback off of what we've already said, it was Charles Oliveira ain't gonna treat. I'm sorry, UFC isn't gonna treat Charles Oliveira right. He's not a star.
Even if he wins, even if he knocks him out cold on the first fucking punch, dude, like. Not even. Michael Chandler might get that treatment, though. You're right about that. He might get that treatment.
Because he's American. Yep, I'm going to go there. They're very much like that. Sure, did they like Anderson Silva? Yeah, they did. They liked the spot.
They couldn't make anything out of Anderson Silva, and they really, really tried to. Only real fight fans even remember who Anderson Silva was. Like that, which is incredible to me because he didn't retire very long ago, and there's so many more fans nowadays. You know what I mean? Like that's
because his English isn't the best on the planet, and I get it. It's you want to market a guy. You in America, you want to market Americans. Duh. I'm not even mad at that. But it's not just what you want to do; it's what you need to do. You need to promote your champions. That's why Zhang Weili didn't get any fucking no fanfare, no nothing. Throw out here, get beat up. I don't know if you read or not or heard the stories, but she was training in an office.
Yeah.
Before the fight. What in the fuck is that, bro? Was Thug Rose training in the office? Like, how come we can't get this is your champion? Let's be honest. They never gave her a shot because they never gave a fuck about her. We all know that. That's the type of shit they do. They didn't give a fuck about Tony Ferguson. That's why they stalled him out on there. They don't give a fuck about Dustin Poirier. They only care about Conor McGregor in this. Okay? Like we know how they operate, how they are. That's why it makes me a little bit upset that Dustin Poirier, like, he's a weirdo to me. Like, man, I know you know, you don't get riled up like everybody else, but you can still be a little hire a team to make you more marketable so that you can take your rightful place, so that you can you can piggyback off of that type of stuff. You know, he can understand, hey, they're marketing me as this team, this management, this marketing team that I hired, and maybe I am this. I mean, you can feed off of that stuff too. You know what I mean? Like, if UFC ain't gonna do it for you, you gotta do it for you. And I think there's a lot more people that could do that. You know, like Khabib don't need to do it. He arguably in his hometown, he's done that. You know, like his home country, that's who Khabib is, and that's great. Because you know what? The greatest before him, GSP, he did it too. That's why he's great in his home country. His way, you know, because they did it on their own. They did it on their own with who they were, and they weren't these super crazy individuals. You know, like there's your Mike Trouts. You know,
Yeah,
but at the same,
those guys like GSP and all those guys, all those legends, those are the Babe Ruths. You know what I mean? Those are the Willie Mazes. You know, still, like I said, we haven't seen
conversation in terms of skill.
Seen our Mike Trout. Well, Mike Trout's supposed to be better than all of them. I haven't seen anyone that's better than all of them. You know what I mean? Like right now, we're still debating
Mike Trout's not between all of them.
Oh no, he absolutely is, and I'm gonna go ahead and claim seniority on this one. But he absolutely is.
You can go ahead. You can talk about Babe Ruth all you want, but don't just start throwing everybody in there talking about how he probably. Nigga, look. Let me be honest with you. It's hard to get past Pete. It's hard to get past Pete Rose. Okay.
What do you mean? Mike Trout
it's hard to get past Pete Rose in terms of individually being great. Like when we start talking about.
Okay. Not really. Not in terms of character. I mean, even some of his stats are beaten. Like the only one that he really has that means anything is the hits record, and that means a lot to me. But that doesn't mean a lot when you compare him to other players.
Like Barry Bonds.
Well, if you want to go down the Bonds route, if you're willing to have that conversation without bringing up steroids, and yeah, Bonds was way better.
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it without steroids because for one, I don't give a fuck what you taking. You still got to hit the ball.
Yeah, it's a 96 mile an hour fastball.
You know what I mean? Like,
come talk to me. I will throw to anyone listening. I will throw to you personally, and I throw maybe 70 miles an hour, maybe. Now add another 27 miles an hour to that and accuracy, and that's what it's like to face a major leaguer. It's not fucking fun to hit a fastball that's going more than 70 miles an hour. I mean, it's barely fun hitting one of those. Like,
no.
Like, it's. Dude, I caught a kid who threw 90-91. I think he went to UNLV. I think at UNLV he topped 92-93. And
what did Nick throw?
Nick threw, I think at his top speed was 87 or 89 or something like that. But he's what you'd call a crafty lefty. So he's throwing a lot of stuff with more movement than he is with speed.
You motherfuckers! For people who think we know athletes.
Yeah, hey, fight fans probably get punched in the head a lot if they're true fight fans. So you just gotta explain.
You get what I'm going with it though. I'm not trying to. I gave Mike Trout his due by putting him up there. Like I know you saying we haven't seen our Mike Trout yet. I don't think that he's. If you want to say he's LeBron, that's fine. But that's not the type of conversation you're actually trying to have.
Oh, no. And here's the thing is I want to.
But he's not Michael Jordan. That's what I'm saying. He's not Michael Jordan.
No. And here's what I mean.
He's Tim Duncan. You want to or Tim Duncan?
Closer. He's not Michael Jordan. Yeah. He is every bit as great, possibly greater, because there have been better players than Jordan, right? But Jordan was a complete package.
No.
But it's out of the generations, and this is what I'm getting at. It's out of the generation after Mike Trout that you're going to get everyone that's baselining at his level. So that's what I mean. Is he's the next change in the level. That's a better way of putting it. Is he's a better he's a change in the level, not the greatness, the level.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, no, you're right because we can split hairs about because then it gets really I don't want to make it. I don't want to belittle what he's done, and in short
Well, he's
sale.
still young. He's still very young.
I know, but at the same time, I would have to go. It just sounds like I'm putting him down, and that's not what I'm doing. But like you saying, he's everybody will be coming in and they'll be scaling up to him. Fine, that's a LeBron or Oscar Robertson. Like sure, who was the guy generationally before Mike Trout?
Barry Bonds.
No, nobody's trying to be Barry Bonds, I would say. I meant total package in terms of.
Well, remember, before Barry Bonds was thought of as, even when he was thought of as the home run hitter.
Oh, you mean when King Griffey Jr. is a better. You know why I say he's.
Well, yeah. Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. before the injuries was everything.
And then there's no steroid.
Yeah. That was. Yep. No, that's.
Because they were the exact same player before we could start to have different conversations about them. I'll just put it like that. Because somebody's forehead grew and then they didn't get injured as much, and somebody else stayed at that same defensive level, stayed the same guy, and got injured all the time because Father Time was catching up with him because he wasn't cheating. Anyway, no. Well, that's how I see it. That's how it certainly looks. But I would love to have that conversation with you at some other time, but you probably agree with me.
No, I agree. And I got another I got another episode of the side control coming up too, so I'm going to elaborate on some of our points coming up right now. But I'm sure.
Well, I'm hoping. Well, think about where we really took this conversation. We want to see Charles Oliveira treated right.
Yes. We want to see the actual greatness rise to the top, the actual cream rise to the top. You know what I mean? And that's the thing is, like, even if Michael Chandler wins, it's not that Charles Oliveira is any less of a fighter or not as great as you thought.
He'll be back regardless. They're gonna fight again.
Yeah, because we used to think of that division before even Chandler signed with the UFC as just Poirier, just Gaethje, just Khabib, just McGregor. Those four guys, and even Tony Ferguson, I guess, a fifth. But then now you have, at that point, Chandler, you have Dariush, you have fucking, Oliveira. Like that Dariush Ferguson fight, I was so excited when it was the third fight of the card because I thought it could be the best one.
It got pushed back. Yeah.
No. You're talking about the Edwards versus Diaz fight. Dariush versus Ferguson's still on.
Is it? I thought they got pushed back too.
No, no.
A lot of them. To be fair, a ton of them were in the rumor mill, and just a ton of stuff changed over a couple of different cards.
Yeah, but Neil Dariush is going to fight
far off. Okay. No, there was just a lot of changes over cards coming up and cards that are in the future, the not too distant future. So I got a little confused on that. It's a lot.
The one fight that got changed from this card was the Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz fight. And honestly, it would have been a fun, fight card because of that, just because of the possibilities. But I honestly think the fat was trimmed when that fight got cut. I think it's better on the fight card it's on right now with the Adesanya Vettori card because that card is just not exciting. I think it's either going to be somebody proving that Israel Adesanya really isn't what he says, or it's going to be Izzy running through somebody in his own weight division and having to go back up or down, because
there's no difference in that.
I know they're both, African brethren, but I'd love to see Adesanya versus Usman. Like, I'd really like to see that. I think
Adesanya, he's got a lot of distance on him, man. It's hard to close that distance. Even John Blachowicz had to be a very different fighter than what we've ever seen from him. He wouldn't let him just. No. But he wouldn't let him just throw on him. He wouldn't just let him throw on him, dude. He wouldn't just let him.
Yeah, but then at a certain point, Jan Blachowicz was just instituting his own game plan.
No, sure. No, I'm just the one aspect. Just about the length and distance.
But that's the only thing that Izzy would have on Usman because it wouldn't be power. You know what I mean?
That's a lot.
It wouldn't be technical prowess. It wouldn't be wrestling or anything ground related. It would literally be distance and distance alone. That's all it would be.
Izzy don't punch like a bitch though.
He doesn't. No, he's good, but like.
So
Dude,
I know what you mean. I know what
I've
you mean.
seen Usman. Remember those punches he took from Gilbert Burns that stunned him? Those were good.
Yeah.
Those are the best punches that a puncher can throw. Like Gilbert Burns got
If
everything behind those.
fought him like that, he would be put out.
Maybe.
Is that safe to say? I think that's safe to say. At
the very least, if he caught him like that more than once, I wouldn't hold up hope.
more like that's the thing. If he caught him like that once, this probably with Israel Adesanya, another one coming. Not with everybody, but like with Michael Chandler, if he catches you with one, that's all he needs. But I guarantee you, there's 5 more coming. So I don't know what the fuck you gonna do. He might not hit you with all 5, but one of them motherfuckers is hitting you, man. Like, yeah. But understand that though. One punch is about to change your whole night. There are 5 more on the way. You don't know. They come in one after another, but man, it could be the 5th, it could be the 3rd, it could be the 1st of the 5. You don't know. But the second time he hits you, a third one is almost unnecessary. You know, he doesn't need a third one. He might if he doesn't catch you clean, but I don't know. We got some. That's some exciting. It's an exciting time. It really is. Because although they might not treat our boys right, because I'm going to be real with you, I don't know if they're going to really promote Michael Chandler like that. Have they? Absolutely. Doesn't mean they will. I mean, I think they like the rah-rah go American Michael Chandler. I think they love that. But let's think about it if he loses. They go, oh, another bum from Bellator, back of the line, right? You know, I don't think they're going to do right by the loser or the winner, to be real. I think Michael Chandler has a good chance of being treated right, but let's see. I got the invite to your house as usual, right?
Nope.
Whoa.
No, you're always invited, but you know my policy on extra guests.
No. I got you. I don't even care about bringing nobody extra. I'm thinking about. I mean, you know, I usually watch the fights at Taps, so.
No, I got you. I'm most likely going to be ordering that card. I just have some other like fishing plans and stuff like that I'm trying to solidify, and I'm not going to miss the card. I just don't know when I'm going to be home.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. You know, give Taps a chance. That's what you should do.
I can't watch the fights around other people because then there's like people that have no idea what they're watching. They're like, "Oh my god, he should hit him back," and you're like, "Oh no shit."
No, a lot of people won't be saying a whole bunch of that. Like I don't know, I tune a lot of stuff out. I do. Like if I'm there, I'm watching it. Like sure, I can hear somebody else talking and stuff and have a conversation, but I am still tuned into that fight. Also, you know, like it's a good. I like seeing what I see from what's out there. A lot of people don't have their finger on the pulse of what's going on with fans and everything. And, you know, like Jake Paul brings in money. I don't give a fuck if people hate him or not. He brings in a lot of money. I saw people who were just there to see him get his ass whooped. You know, like, imagine how much, like, I got free shots because of that. It was, all right, I bet you a shot. I was like, okay, man. I was like, you know what? I was nice about it. I was like, I'll tell you what. I'll buy you the shot to see if I win, because I want to show you how, you know, how this is going to go down. Like, I don't want you to have to suffer and take a shot, because here's the thing, you know, that could be, you know, you don't want people drinking and driving like that. So you got to be careful about that thing. So I'm like, hey, I'll take the shot because I'm taking a cab or whatever, or I'll get you, you know, I'll make it so where you don't have to worry about that. You know, like it's not that bad of a. You don't have to take a shot of some bullshit. I'll buy you some mid shelf or top shelf, whatever.
I'm just saying, man. We could order a pizza. You have some friends over and fucking just watch it.
You said you don't have friends.
No, I have friends. I just don't let friends bring.
You don't have friends. You don't have friends.
No, I have a VIP list, and you just happen to make it.
All right. So what's the title of this show?
Ooh, the title of this show is Get Ready for SmackDown, I guess. It was a Saturday Night SmackDown.
No, we could say that one. I don't know. It's not bad, but like that sounds weird.
Well, I mean, you can get ready for the side mount, or you could.
Ugh, that's no, no. You
I'm
gotta
just
we
trying to.
gotta be careful.
I'm just trying to promote the solo cast now.
No, but we gotta be
That's all I'm
careful.
gonna be doing.
I don't want to promote it like it's some sort of sexual thing. Because you're a pervert. I see that. You're a weird pervert.
On the side mount.
You're a weird deviant.
Yeah, I'm a
You're
weird.
a sexual
No, you don't want to tell people that I'm a weird deviant.
maybe we can make it about. Okay, so maybe it'll be something about this Weidman. Oh, wait. One more quick thing. Fuck you, Cody Garbrandt. Take us home.
This has been Sporticus, and you've been sports entertained.